now home Super Bowl for the first time in NFL history. Anytime you're the first doing something, it's usually a pretty good thing.
Oh, yeah, in 12 days, Tampa will host the greatest quarterback matchup in Super Bowl history. Yeah, I said it. Patrick Mahomes, one win away from joining Emmitt Smith as the only NFL players to win 2 rings and an MVP award before turning 26. Tom Brady's made it this far in 10 of his 21 seasons. That's a 48% rate. That's more likely than a made Steph Curry 3, a Sidney Crosby score, or a Bryce Harper extra base hit in a game. And this duo combined for 78 touchdown passes during the regular season. That would be the second most all-time between starting quarterbacks in a Super Bowl. Our quarterback, Dan Orlovsky, joining us now with much more. And Dan, what do you value more in this Super Bowl matchup? Is that Brady's experience or Mahomes playing in his prime?
Mahomes in his prime. Mahomes off the chart talent. Mahomes being the best player in football, Kev. Don't forget, he has some experience being in the Super Bowl, obviously, last year, and a ton of playoff experience being in deficit, but his talent just stands out. You go watch this playoff game last week against Buffalo, and you just walk away going, there's nobody in the NFL playing as good as Patrick Mahomes. And you're looking at a defense in Tampa that's really, really, really good, and he is going to have to play his best game of the year to win this Super Bowl against that defense. So although Brady's experience is great, Patrick Mahomes' talent and how good he is what I want going into next Sunday.
Okay, we are going to continue the quarterback conversation following a developing story in an offseason where we had many QB questions. You can add Jared Goff to the mix. The former #1 pick didn't get a vote of confidence after the Rams season ended against the Packers from head coach Sean McVay. Same story from GM Les Snead today. Listen to this.
Oh, Jared Goff's he's a Ram right now. So what's the date? Okay. Let's see. January 26th. I mean, that's a fact. That's obvious. Jared Goff's a Ram in this moment. And I said it's way too early to speculate. The future, that's a beautiful mystery.
Well, beautiful mystery, suddenly a catchy comment. A couple weeks ago, McVay said he's evaluating everything, including the quarterback. So, Dan, why hasn't Goff taken the next step as the franchise quarterback in L.A.?
Yeah, Kev, the big thing is when he had that 2-year run with Sean McVay, the touchdowns were so up on that outside zone scheme in the play action. 60 touchdowns and like 18 interceptions. And then the last 2 years, the touchdowns have dropped to like 43 interceptions or up to like 28, 29 because they're not running the same scheme. And so they're not getting those huge play action chunks that really make it advantageous for a quarterback. And so the play and the production has fallen off. I would say this. General managers don't think in the now. They're always thinking ahead, right? Les does not make that comment unless he started thinking about this long ago, months ago. And he's making the comment, just being upfront and honest, that the door is now opened, that this is a thought process in Los Angeles, which is shocking compared to what we were 2 years ago in the Super Bowl with Jared Goff. So I'm sure they've got something up their sleeves that they're thinking about. But Jared Goff's play just wasn't up to the standard that they wanted this year.
Another shocking fact, too, his 4-year, $134 million extension has yet to kick in. Dan, appreciate it.
This is SportsCenter with Kevin Nagani and Ryan Smith.
Today's headlines: the Matthew Stafford sweepstakes are underway. Our Adam Schefter tweeted that teams are contacting the Lions to initiate trade talks and figure out the potential costs to acquire the veteran quarterback. Schefter reported over the weekend that Stafford and the Lions have mutually agreed to part ways. In baseball, the Phillies and catcher JT Realmuto have agreed on a 5-year, $115.5 million contract. Sources confirmed to ESPN's Jeff Passan. The 23.1 per year average is the highest for any catcher in league history. MLB reporter Craig Mish first reported the deal. At any minute now, the 2021 Baseball Hall of Fame class is expected to be announced. But the question remains, will anyone be elected? Pitcher Curt Schilling appears to have the best chance. Pitcher Roger Clemens and home run king Barry Bonds are in their second to last year on the ballot. And NBA news, new Pacers guard Karis LeVert is expected to make a full recovery after undergoing surgery to remove a cancerous mass from his kidney. Out indefinitely, LeVert will require no further treatment. The mass was discovered during a physical after he was traded in the 4-team deal that sent James Harden to Brooklyn. We wish him a speedy recovery. And, of course, today, 1 year after Kobe Bryant's death, we're going to take a look at his enduring legacy with Michael Wilbon. That's coming up.
You know, we're going to begin tonight with, honestly, the beautiful mystery surrounding Aaron Rodgers.
Beautiful mystery.
And a message from the Packers. 2 days after losing in the NFC Championship game to Tom Brady and the Bucs, well, the speculation continues after Rodgers' post-game comments about him and other teammates having an uncertain future. Of course, the backstory includes the Packers drafting Jordan Love last spring in the first round, and then Green Bay going 13-3 to grab the number 1 seed in the NFC. Here's Rodgers today on the Pat McAfee Show.
I don't think that there's any reason why I wouldn't be back, but look, I think there's not many absolutes, as you guys know, in this business. So to make an absolute statement about something that is not an absolute, just I didn't do it, you know, and I guess that's why I went kind of nuts. I don't give a shit about that. I mean, I couldn't care any less about speculation off of that. I don't think people are used to hearing the truth from athletes. I think naturally there's times where you let your mind go to maybe, well, I'm going to be a Packer for life. I think, you know, when they drafted Jordan, it was more just like the reality kicking in going, hey, that's actually never the case. There are no absolutes in this business.
I'll say this. There's no way in heck that Aaron is not going to be on the Packers. I mean, he's going to be the MVP of the league. Might have had his best year ever. He's our unquestioned leader, and, you know, we're not idiots.
And Packers reporter Rob Domofsky joins us with much more on this story. Rob, you've covered Rodgers his entire career. What stood out from what he said today?
Yeah, Kevin, as you know, Rodgers is such a smart guy, and he never says anything without completely thinking it through. So he's known all along how his comments would be played nationally, going back to after the game on Sunday when he brought his future into question. But really, it goes back to the spring when they drafted Jordan Love, and he said, look, this means that I no longer probably control my future, at least in Green Bay. And then, you know, today on the Pat McAfee Show, what stood out to me was he said, I think I'm going to be back next year, but he put an emphasis on the word think.
Fascinating stuff for our interpretation here. So when you look at the Packers side, here's what we know. He still has 3 years left on his contract. What else can they do to assure Rodgers that they are committed to him long term?
Yeah, a couple of things, Kevin. One, it could be financially. They could restructure. They could extend, because he's at the point in his contract now where they could get out and actually save some salary cap space. So perhaps he wants some assurances that he's going to be the guy going forward. They could put some more guaranteed money in there because there's no more of that. Or they simply could have a sit-down meeting with him and say, look, Brian Gutekunst, the general manager, Matt LaFleur, the coach, and the team president, Mark Murphy, could say, you have to know that as long as you keep playing at a high level, you're our quarterback next year and beyond. And Gutekunst and LaFleur are supposed to talk later in the week, and I wouldn't be surprised if publicly they said those things, but he may want a little bit more than that as well.
It is January 20.